तो हरियाणा स्थित जिंदल ग्लोबल विश्वविद्यालय को विश्वविद्यालय अनुदान आयोग ने प्रदेश में निजी विश्वविद्यालयों को दी जाने वाली सर्वोच्च रेटिंग ए प्रदान की है। इसके बाद आज इसका 5th कन्वोकेशन सेरेमनी हो रहा है, जहां पर इस वक्त आप देख सकते हैं कि इसके चांसलर श्री नवीन जिंदल जी और तमाम फैकल्टी मेंबर्स के साथ 6 साल का अनुभव कैसा रहा, 2009 में इसकी स्थापना की गई थी, कैसा अनुभव रहा, छात्र किस तरह से इसका फायदा उठा रहे हैं और सिर्फ देश ही नहीं बल्कि विदेशों में भी जेजीयू किस तरह से अपना नाम रोशन कर रहा है कि छात्र, जो सबसे बड़ी बात है कि 70% से अधिक छात्र यहां पर किसी न किसी रूप से छात्रवृत्ति पाने में पूरी तरह से यहां पर उन्हें आसानी से छात्रवृत्ति मिलती रही है। तो 2009 में स्वर्गीय बाबूजी ओपी जिंदल की स्मृति में इस विश्वविद्यालय की स्थापना की गई और इसके फाउंडिंग चांसलर श्री नवीन जिंदल जी, जिन्हें कि आप इस वक्त देख रहे हैं, इस 5th कन्वोकेशन सेरेमनी के मुख्य अतिथि अरुण जेटली जी, जो कि थोड़ी देर के बाद यहां पर पहुंचेंगे। और सबसे बड़ी बात है कि विशाल कैंपस है जेजीयू का, 80 एकड़ का कैंपस है और एशिया में बहुत ही कम ऐसे विश्वविद्यालय में देखे जाते हैं जहां पर फैकल्टी और छात्र का अनुपात बहुत ही बेहतरीन, 15 छात्रों पर एक फैकल्टी की व्यवस्था की गई है। सुनते हैं क्या कह रहे हैं श्री नवीन जिंदल जी।
Who in the examination held for the purpose have been certified to be worthy of the same. I now declare the convocation open.
Good evening to all of you. It is indeed my proud privilege to welcome all of you to the 5th convocation of OP Jindal Global University and the celebration of our Founders Day. In addition to celebrating the accomplishments of our graduating students, this is also the day when we will commemorate the 86th birth anniversary of Shri OP Jindal, in whose memory the university was founded. I would like to welcome our distinguished guests seated on the dais. I have to confess at the outset that Honorable Union Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, Government of India, Mr. Arun Jaitley, is about to reach the venue and he will join us soon. Mr. Jaitley had called up yesterday evening to inform me that he's been requested to be present in Gujarat for the swearing-in ceremony of the new Chief Minister. But true to his word, he had kept his promise and he took off from a flight this afternoon, has landed in Delhi and is about to reach the venue, and he will join us shortly. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Jaitley for accepting our invitation to be part of this important occasion for JGU. We are truly honored to have him here, who is not only a distinguished political leader, a truly accomplished lawyer, a committed social activist, and somebody who has deeply inspired the young minds of India and beyond. We could not have hoped for a more inspiring leader to preside over this occasion and address our graduating students. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Ms. Kiran Majumdar, Chairperson and Managing Director, Biocon Limited. We are delighted to have you join us on this occasion. Ms. Shaw is not only an accomplished businesswoman who has built a great biotech firm, she is also a spirited public activist and an intellectual in her own right. I am certain that all our students who are aspiring to make a difference beyond building their own careers will take inspiration from Ms. Shaw's life story and her contributions in business and beyond. On a more personal note, I want to thank Ms. Shaw for again keeping up her word when she promised to us last year that she will be a guest of honor for this year's convocation. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your presence. Chancellor Mr. Naveen Jindal, as always, we are grateful for your presence here today. In Chancellor Jindal, we have not only the founder of this university, but also an accomplished businessman, an experienced political leader, an exceptional sportsperson, and a committed philanthropist. Today, we are gathered here because of Chancellor Jindal's dedication and commitment to this university and its founding vision. His presence today is a reflection of his steadfast and continuing commitment to to building a world-class institution that India could be proud of. On a more personal note, Chancellor Jindal, this year also marks 10 years since we met for the first time on a Monday afternoon in October 2006 and started the journey to build this institution. Little did we know that that occasion will mark an extraordinary journey to inspire the young minds of India and beyond, and we would be celebrating several years later the 5th convocation of O.P. Jindal Global University. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Jindal for his far-sighted vision to build this university and to commit to some of the most important values that are deeply embedded in this institution, which is to promoting academic freedom, functional autonomy, and independence to build a world-class university. I would like to thank Mrs. Savitri Jindal for her gracious presence on this occasion. As always, you have been a great source of encouragement and support, and thank you very much, ma'am, for your presence here. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Shalu Jindal for her support, unqualified faith, and optimism in this institution and its future. Thank you very much, Shalu, for your presence. I would also like to thank and indeed welcome all the distinguished family members of Mr. Jindal who have made it a point to be present on this occasion, including his son Venkatesh and his daughter, both of whom have accepted our invitation to be present on this occasion. I am delighted to welcome the graduating students and their families as you celebrate this special occasion. I am also delighted to welcome all our students. I am also delighted to welcome all our students, especially our new students who have joined us a few days ago. Welcome to JGU. We have always made it a point to have this convocation in the first week of August for a number of reasons. The obvious one being the 7th of August is the Founders' Day celebration. But an equally important reason is also because of the fact that the new students would have joined us on the 1st of August, and we would like to have them become part of this vision, this new imagination, and have them contribute to the institution building effort at JGU. So thank you very much for your presence. I welcome the faculty and staff members of JGU who are pivotal to the functioning of the university. I would especially like to welcome our new faculty and staff members who have joined us in this new academic year. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all our other distinguished guests, including members of the governing body, the Board of Management, the Academic Council of JGU, and special thanks to all of them for taking time to join us on this occasion. I would like to take a moment to briefly reflect about the philosophy and vision behind JGU. The founders of some of the leading private universities in the world have been people who are motivated with the spirit of giving back to society and actively promoting innovation and progress. At a time in India when we are faced with enormous challenges in our higher education sector, innovative solutions need to be found to address these challenges. As many of you know, 800 million people in this country are less than 35 years of age. None of us on the dais are less than 35 years of age. And many of you who are graduating today are less than 35 years. This means that we need to give a new vision for your future. And this university, through the vision of Chancellor Jindal, took a bold and courageous step in opening a new chapter in the history of Indian philanthropy. Like John, Harvard, LIU Yale, Jane and Leland Stanford, whose benefactors resulted in the creation of private universities such as Harvard, Yale, and Stanford University, and like other inspired philanthropic initiatives such as Li Ka-shing and Kiran Shah in Asia, Mr. Jindal, you have made a significant contribution for promoting excellence in higher education in India. Posterity will remember you for the kind of contribution you would have made for higher education and the transformative change that you have given as a possibility for the young minds of India and beyond, and I want to thank you for that. You have not only made an enormous financial commitment, but brought to this project your personal commitment and dedication to the three values that are deeply embedded in our institution, which is academic freedom, functional autonomy, and independence that have resulted in the blossoming of this institution. The fifth convocation is an important milestone in the university's history as we mark half a decade of graduating students who have gone on to make significant contributions to our society and economy. This year also marks the 7th year since our founding. Having made a modest beginning in the year 2009 with fewer programs and a small number of students and faculty, JGU has made steady progress in expanding to become a full-fledged university with undergraduate students, graduate students, master's students, and PhD students. We have started new schools, launched new programs, and significantly expanded our curriculum and courses, and a transition from barely 100 students in the year 2009 to over 2,700 students now, from barely 10 faculty members to over 200 full-time faculty members. This journey has not been easy, but because of the extraordinary contribution of a number of people led by Mr. Jindal, it has become far more easier than what it would be otherwise. This is a huge responsibility, and we are taking our aspirations and commitment to excellence across all our programs. In the years ahead, we hope to consolidate our programs and learn from experiences to further improve our capacities to contribute to the field of higher education. I am happy to report that in the March of this year, JGU was awarded the highest rating, A grade, by the National Accreditation and Assessment Council. This is a compelling testimony of our efforts and accomplishments over the past 7 years. Out of the 140 universities accredited by NAAC, only 30% or so have received the A grade, and JGU is the first and only private university in the state of Haryana to receive the A grade. However, we are indeed conscious not to rest on our laurels. In order to create an enabling classroom experience and consolidate our learning outcomes, we continue to maintain a 1:12 faculty-student ratio. We have progressively strengthened many aspects of institution building, a few of which are important to be noted. At a time when gender diversity is a serious issue affecting institutions in India, JGU's commitment to promoting the role of women in faculty and leadership positions is reflected in the fact that nearly 45% of our faculty members across the 5 schools of JGU are women, with 38% of JGU's leadership positions tenured by outstanding women faculty members. Part of the vision of JGU is to ingrain a global perspective and outlook into all our schools.
Sir.
I would like to extend a warm welcome to Honorable Union Minister for Finance, Mr. Jaitley. We will briefly interrupt to pay our tributes to Sri O.P. Jindal on his Founders' Day today. Can I invite the distinguished guests from the dais to move towards Mr. Jindal's portrait?
Today we commemorate the 86th birth anniversary of Sri O.P. Jindal, in whose memory our university was founded. We request the honorable guests to light the lamp and offer floral tributes to Sri O.P. Jindal.
Ladies and gentlemen, we shall resume the program. I was just mentioning to Mr. Jaitley that it was truly a valiant effort on his part to have made it here. At around 1 o'clock, and I was watching television at home, he was in Gujarat at the swearing-in ceremony of the new Chief Minister of Gujarat, and true to his character and integrity, he has made it here, and we are grateful to him for his presence. Part of the vision of JGU is to ingrain a global perspective and outlook into all our activities. Learning from the experience of building world-class institutions from around the world, we have focused on internationalization. There are many aspects of internationalization that JGU is deeply committed to. For us, to be a global university is a responsibility. It means to have a global curriculum, a global course structure, a global faculty, a global research agenda, all of which promoting global interaction. In the last 7 years since we were founded, we have established substantive international collaborations with over 160 universities spread across 36 different countries in the world, in which we have implemented 10 different forms of international collaborations. These include faculty exchange programs, student exchange programs, joint teaching, joint research, joint conferences, joint publications, dual degree programs, summer schools and winter schools, study abroad programs, and joint executive education programs. These experiences have shaped the life and opportunities for the students who are graduating today. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome the new full-time faculty members who have joined us in this new academic year. Having begun with a smaller strength, today with over 200 full-time faculty members, JGU has an important opportunity to shape the future of higher education. We are also proud that more than 80% of our faculty members have international qualifications from the leading universities of the world, besides having several of them from some of the top institutions in India. As a part of our efforts to increase diversity within the university, we make conscious efforts to recruit qualified faculty from both India and from around the world. These 20% of our faculty are full-time faculty coming from France, Japan, Italy, Canada, New Zealand, Bulgaria, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Iceland, Germany, Russia, Syria, the Netherlands, Israel, the United States, Brazil, and the United Kingdom. This is indeed significant for a relatively young university which is barely 7 years old. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the deans, the vice deans, associate and assistant deans of all the 5 schools of JGU. In particular, I would also like to thank them for their exceptional commitment to each of your schools, your students, and to this institution. In addition to the 5 schools, I would also like to thank the heads of the various institutes, which includes the Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences, the Jindal Institute of Leadership Development and Executive Education, the International Institute for Higher Education Research and Capacity Building, and the Jindal Center for Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship. These institutes have made remarkable contributions over the past year to their respective areas of research and work. I also want to take this opportunity to thank some of those individuals who have constantly supported us in our endeavor. In particular, I would like to thank the Governor of Haryana, His Excellency Professor Kaplan Singh Solanki, Honorable Chief Minister of Haryana, Mr. Manohar Lal Khattar, Honorable Minister of Education, Haryana, Mr. Ram Bilas Sharma, and the Additional Chief Secretary, Department of Higher Education, Haryana, Mr. Vijay Vardhan. In particular, I also want to recognize the distinguished presence of a few of our governing body members and International Board of Advisors, Professor Stephen P. Marks from Harvard University, Professor Jayant Krishnan from Indiana University, and Professor Christie from Indiana University, Bloomington. I am grateful to them for not only their encouragement and support to JGU, but also for their distinguished presence here on this occasion. On a more personal note, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to my parents who instilled in me a sense of purpose and commitment to seeking transformation and change, and my wife and children who made personal sacrifices while helping me pursue the dream of building a global university in India. Before I end, I would like to thank the graduating students of JGU for giving us the opportunity to partner with them in their educational journey. The majority of the graduating students have been with us for 5 out of the 7 years of our existence. Today, as we wish them success in their future endeavors, it may be worthwhile to recall the fact that they have been an important part of JGU's growth story. Besides acquiring a formal education, the graduating students have contributed to JGU's institution building in more ways than it is possible for me to recount. I hope that their experience in participating in the development of JGU will be of value to them as they venture out to start a new enterprise, start a career in business or in law, advance innovations in our government and non-governmental institutions, contributing to public policy and international relations. My own life has been irrevocably changed by JGU's story. Having witnessed the development of the institution from its inception, I have learned to value learning by doing, the importance of collaboration, the creative force of diversity, the openness in governance, the significance of small steps towards attaining a larger goal, and the tangible benefits that arise out of being involved in a public service project. I am certain that our graduating students will not only carry forward these values, but also embody the spirit of JGU, to persevere towards larger common goals in the face of adversity, to remain open to differences, and to commit to public good wherever possible. This spirit is best captured by Mr. O.P. Jindal's mantra when he said, I quote, "Where others see walls, we see doors," unquote. I wish you all success and thank you all.
Thank you, Professor Kumar, for delivering the welcome address and presenting the university report.
May I request Shri Naveen Jindal, the founding Chancellor of O.P. Jindal Global University, to deliver the Chancellor's address. Sir.
Honorable Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, Mr. Arun Jaitley, Chairperson of O.P. Jindal Group, my mother, Srimati Savitri Jindal, our guest of honor, Chairperson and Managing Director of Biocon, Ms. Kiran Shah, Vice Chancellor of O.P. Jindal Global University, Professor Rajkumar, Registrar, Professor Murthy, faculty members of O.P. Jindal Global University, distinguished guests, graduating students and their family members, staff, and dear students. I wish to extend my warm greetings to all the students who are graduating today from O.P. Jindal Global University. As the fifth batch passing out of this institution, and to all the members of their families. This is the 8th year of our university's existence, and we have come a long way since 2009, when it all started. With 5 schools covering a variety of social science and humanities disciplines, JGU is being accepted as an exceptional private university that has produced high-quality research and scholarship, and that is training students for an excellent careers. It is a personal honor to me and to the memory of my father, Sri O.P. Jindal, whose 86th anniversary we are celebrating today, and in whose name we created this university, that such eminent persons are here on the dais to give degrees to our dear students. To receive degrees from the hands of the Union Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, and a woman business icon is a fitting finale to students who devoted many years of study at JGU to earn this moment. Congratulations. Congratulations to each and every Jindalite who is dressed in cap and gown. This is an unforgettable day in your lives, and you are privileged to have such august dignitaries to share your joy and inspire you with their words of wisdom. My main inspiration and guiding light in life has been my father. He used to say that education is the greatest gift that one can give to anyone. Such education should equip a student with skills, knowledge, and exposure to confront and intelligently overcome local, national, and global challenges. The importance of robust higher education cannot be overemphasized. Quality higher education contributes to economic development and human development of a nation. We have ambitious plans to launch and schools in the coming years. Our strategic goal is for some schools of JGU to break into the top 200 of the world universities in the next 5 to 10 years. My father never believed in mediocrity. He was always interested in innovation and doing something that would lift the sector or the field to the next level of excellence. We have created JGU with that spirit to produce citizens that would make a difference, in making the India of our dreams. The exposure our students have been gaining at JGU is local, national, as well as international, truly justifying the word global. At JGU, we are striving to develop world-class research and teaching that is socially beneficial and globally relevant. I am happy to share with you that I keep getting appreciative remarks about how well the university is doing and has shaped up. And I really feel proud of all of you. Many students have preferred to join JGU even when they have opportunities to study at some of the older and leading universities in India and abroad. The students have made the choices on the basis of the quality of our faculty members and the impact that education at JGU can have on their intellect and character. This is the greatest reward or return on investment for me. My father's spirit would gladly applaud the sincerity with which our Vice Chancellor, Professor C. Rajkumar, has led this university to make so many meaningful contributions to Haryana, India, and the world. I compliment him and all the members of JGU. Let's give them a big hand. The Jindal Group is spread over many countries, but it is the state of Haryana that is home for me and my family. To be doing something substantial for Haryana through JGU and other educational initiatives of the Jindal Group is our sacred responsibility. The chief guest for today's convocation ceremony, Mr. Arun Jaitley, is a legal luminary. As a Union Finance Minister, he has been steering the economy despite many global challenges and is committed to placing the country on a higher growth trajectory. He has played a critical role in forging a consensus on a very important economic policy that we are all aware of. We are all aware of the constitutional amendment that will enable the passing of the GST bill. Let's give him a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. I have known Mr. Jaitley for over 15 years now, and he has been a source of inspiration for me. He has supported me in the fight for the national flag, and as a senior parliamentarian, he was always there to guide me in the parliament. He is amongst the most articulate members of parliament, most articulate lawyers when you see him arguing or debating a matter in the court, or debating a matter in the parliament, or in the media. Sir, your presence at this function will inspire our graduates immensely. Our guest of honor, Ms. Kiran Shah, is a business icon for India. She is on the Financial Times top 50 women in business list. During the current year, she has been listed in Forbes magazine as the most powerful woman in the world at 77th position. Students who are graduating today, I would say, look at role models like Mr. Jaitley, Ms. Kiran Shah, and Professor Rajkumar, and feel inspired by their achievements. The credit for training these graduating students goes to outstanding faculty members who are the real strength and soul of JGU. As teachers, you are the main force behind the professional success and moral integrity of these graduating students. Congratulations to the faculty members and JGU for changing the lives of these graduating students. Congratulations to parents, relatives, and friends of the graduating students who would have been waiting for this day with anticipation. And congratulations to, most of all, to those of you in caps and gowns. I earnestly appeal to all of you who are graduating today to go all out and make the India of our dreams. Our systems are not perfect, but our intentions are honest. Our democracy has multiple stakeholders. We are a billion-plus strong family. Our ideas and thoughts are complex, chaotic, and contradictory. We argue, disagree, and fight, just like a joint family. But our liberal and plural culture is the binding force. I know your patriotism is next to none. You're all proud Indians. You love the colors saffron, white, and green. I hope in times to come you will use a wider color and brush strokes to paint the canvas of your life and the lives of those you love. I would stress that each one of you should not be satisfied by merely being a generalist, but actually push to become a specialist and an expert. And when knowledge and experience leads you to discover your true self, you will look at a country and a people who are not as privileged or as successful as you are today or will be tomorrow. Also remember to share a little of your time and your energy to make a difference. To those who need a helping hand, a little support, a few words of encouragement, or an opportunity to prove their worth. I once again congratulate all the students who are graduating today. The future is more exciting than it has ever been before. I wish you all the best in your lives to come. As Jindalites, you will always find our doors open long after this memorable convocation ceremony comes to an end. Please safeguard the JGU alumni tag and ensure that people rise in admiration when they hear you are a Jindal alumni. Through this alma mater, I am sure my father's blessings will strengthen your character and support you through rough times. Come back and give back to JGU, your alma mater, which made you what you are today and will be tomorrow. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Chancellor Jindal.
I request Shri Arun Jaitley, the Honorable Union Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, to deliver the convocation address.
Mrs. Savitri Jindal, the Chairperson of the Jindal Group, Mr. Naveen Jindal, Ms. Kiran Shah Majumdar, Professor Rajkumar, Professor Murthy, members of the teaching faculty of the O.P. Jindal Global University, students, ladies and gentlemen. Let me at the very outset express my gratitude to Professor Rajkumar and his colleagues for having invited me to be a part of this convocation of a very valuable institution which has been built up in the last few years. Naveen mentioned that this is his father's 87th birth anniversary. Mr. O.P. Jindal was a multifaceted individual. essentially a businessman, but I think he also realized that businesses alone don't shape the destiny of a nation. Policy and direction do. And in matters of policy and direction, it is legislative politics which actually has a lot of impact. And therefore, he deviated from the conventional course of only doing business and making money and had a political identity for himself parallelly. And even as a politician and a businessman who wore different hats, a philanthropist, I think he also loved battles and excelled many a times in confrontations. And that is how he built up such a large group and left a great legacy. I am delighted at the fact that Naveen found this as an appropriate cause to establish a university in his memory. Establishing such great institutions, I think, is writing a fresh script for history. And particularly when future histories are going to be written years and years away. If we look at the very size of India, we are one country in the world which is still not being able to stabilize its population. We are still growing. And we are missing our population stabilization targets. This is not happening in other parts of the world. For various reasons, social and economic, particularly family, their populations, let alone being controlled, in most developed parts of the world are actually reducing. And if we look at which way the world will look decades downwards, with global integration, the world will need more hands and more minds to manage its affairs, particularly its economic interests. We have a lot of surplus population working in agriculture. But one of our main strengths has been our services. And therefore, even when we strive to increase the size of our manufacturing, services continues to remain the main strength, in fact, of the Indian economy. And for this, not only to manage our own affairs, but also in terms of the demographic differential which is taking place across the world. While we are increasing in numbers, the others are reducing. Human resource becomes a very important economic resource. And to shape these minds, make them globally competitive, make them true global citizens, you need institutions of excellence. The regulated economy commanded that it was only the responsibility of the state to charge higher rates of taxation, and then governments had to establish institutions. Some of them, of course, were very good. Many were average. But the resource of the government itself was limited. And once we opened up, and we opened up with the idea that the private sector, not only philanthropic social organizations, but also businesses, would establish educational institutions. We've had schools of global quality, global competitiveness which have come up. We've had in the last 2 to 3 decades a whole list of private educational institutions have come up. It's often suggested that many would not be up to the mark. That also may be true. But in the years to come, those who don't fare well by the best competitive standards will always fall by the wayside. And the best will survive. These institutions and universities also have another advantage. They are not bound by government structures. They have the capacity to attract the best teaching staff globally. And eventually, any institution, besides its infrastructure, is also judged by the quality of its teaching. And if you look at the best of universities internationally, they have legendary teachers and professors. They have no retirement ages. They produce the best minds. And their alumni speaks of their excellence itself. The Jindal Global University, I have no doubt, is certainly going to be one of such institutions. I had in this year's budget speech mentioned that even though numerically we have a large number of higher educational institutions, but none of them emerge in the global ratings. And therefore, I had said that we must now concentrate in the next few years on at least 20 of them, 10 run by the state and 10 by the private sector. Select the 20 and upgrade them so that they can become world global institutions itself. You are now a part of that competitiveness where you have to strive to come within the category of those top 10, which then acquire those global rankings. You're working in a field, particularly of legal education, where you're also in active competition, whether it's business or law. And I'm sure competition will be able to bring out the best in you. Today, as one of the key batches, this is your 8th convocation, passes out from this university, I think you pass out with a great sense of responsibility. Some of you may go into higher education, and others may opt for careers. For those who are going to initiate their careers now, let me just give them a piece of advice. That the world now has started respecting talent, brilliance than ever before. In every profession virtually, be it academics, be it law, be it the CEOs, be it the medical profession, the days of achieving excellence when you are in your 50s and 60s is over. The brightest achieve a level of excellence when they are in their 30s. And that's why they say we are no longer in a world of grey eminence. In any society, you'll find a lot of crowding. People with degrees from reputed institutions, and there will be a large crowd at the bottom of any pyramid. But that space for excellence on top is always vacant. There's always space in it. And those of you who embark on your careers now will have to realize that the world now has much higher levels of excellence than it ever had before. The world respects excellence than ever before. Mediocrity is also a part of that crowd at the bottom. And those who are able to think out of the box, innovate, come out with ideas, in almost every field, the disruptionists are now being respected because they break away from the settled path, innovate and create new ideas. There's resistance to those ideas, but eventually the few who succeed leave their footprints behind. And therefore those who earlier on in their careers put in that little hard work, become out of the ordinary, they have an opportunity to get on to the fast track. And those who in the initial stages of their career get on to that fast track will always remain on the fast track. And these are those people who in their 30s achieve levels of excellence. As business leaders, they'll become CEOs at that age. As counsels, they'll become top senior counsels at that age. As academics, they will become professors, not at the age of 50, but probably at the age of 33. And that's an opportunity which the competitive world provides. The kind of courses that your university is offering, from liberal arts to businesses to law, I think many of them are such which are today being impacted singularly by two factors: the nature of the economy and the way it's changing, as also the impact of technology. Look at the discipline to which I belong, and I'm sure many of you belong to that discipline, the discipline of law. When India became independent, most people were living in villages. There were small towns, a few large cities. There was huge housing shortage. And when I became a lawyer, the most sought after branch of law prevalent across the country, the largest number of cases used to be of landlords and tenants. And you had protection to be given to the tenants because the number of houses were few. Today, apartments all over the country are lying vacant, waiting for people to occupy. That branch has become irrelevant. Where have we transformed from in the last 3 to 4 decades? You've got into innovation. So anybody who specializes in the law of patents, he'll have to marry his ability in technology and law to be able to discuss and decide what the new innovations could be and how exclusivity and patenting could be granted to that. You have other branches of intellectual property law. When I started practicing, we used to read the monopolies, the MRTP law, which the basis of which was And if you look at the 1956 Industrial Policy Resolution, size was considered evil. So economies of scale was considered bad. And therefore, anybody who crosses a particular size, how do you stop him? That was the object of law and the economic system. All that has been dismantled. Today, with the virtues of global economy, large corporations, economies of scale, and if you look at how economies have prospered, Asia, along with Africa, was the backward region of the world till a few decades ago. In the first instance, Taiwan, then Japan, then Korea, subsequently China, hopefully next India, then demonstrated to the world that some of these countries in the first instance used technological innovations and connected their nations to the global markets. China used economies of scale and low-cost economies, manufacturing. And therefore, the various facets of trade arising out of international trade, joint ventures, investments, trade barriers, being WTO compliant. Now, all this has broken off, and we've seen it in the last 2 to 3 decades. The entire change suddenly come about. We used to be taught elementary lessons on where a cause of action arose in territorial jurisdictions. Now, when transactions are on the electronic mode, even those questions will become redundant. And so too in businesses. It's going to be a greater battle of ideas. If you look at the world of business, my favorite illustration is, if you pick up and prepare a list of the top 25 business houses in India before 1991, and you prepared a list of the 25 largest business houses in 2016, how many names are in common now? Those who had the blessings of the state in a license Raj regime were the ones who were a part of that 25 list. And those who innovated and emerged on their own caliber, who used the benefits of the free market, and who created ideas, are the ones who have now really emerged. The market which is willing to absorb you is also going to be very large. It's no longer the domestic market in India. It's a global market. And therefore, those who have the privilege of studying in institutions of this kind have been blessed with the best quality of staff which is internationally comparable. And therefore, our vision for future has to integrate us into that global vision. My own view is that India, because of conventional thinking, has occasionally lost the opportunity. We missed the bus when it came to the Industrial Revolution. The Americans and the Europeans grabbed that opportunity. When the technology revolution was taking place, we had missed the bus. When the world went on with the benefits of low-cost manufacturing, our laws and regulations were restrictive enough not to allow that. We again missed an opportunity. And I think History never gives us so many opportunities over and over again. This is probably one of the final opportunities which has come India's way. And that final opportunity is, today what is visible is only a few indications of that. The whole world is in a slowdown mode. If a country is growing by 1.5 to 2%, those countries have a sense of satisfaction that we are not in the negative frame. Countries are resorting to desperate measures. Negative interest rates, negligible interest rates, competitive devaluation of economies, of currencies, because they want to grow. Many are in a de-acceleration mode, some are in an extremely slowdown mode. Job losses are taking place. Some other parts of the world are affected by geopolitical factors, the refugees, terrorism. India, of course, is defying that trend. And while we are defying that trend, for the first time in history, we are coming out much better than the rest of the world, having missed so many historical opportunities. And I think one of the credits for this and change in thinking, change in policy, I think what's important, what Naveen mentioned just now, is not the passage of the GST bill. Both two landmark legislation passed back to back, the bankruptcy and the GST, have been passed unanimously. I think that's more important. And one of the factors why these laws have been passed unanimously is that there is a very strong public opinion which has been inflicted upon the politicians that we don't want you now to go slow and waste this opportunity. And this opportunity is available to us in various fields. And I think I always say that when I visit universities, I come back with a great sense of enthusiasm. And I hope I can maintain that same level of enthusiasm when I'm talking to my other colleagues in public life. That's a changing India. And this change is evident not only in the big cities and the big institutions, it's also now evident, thanks to the social media and other factors, in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. People are becoming more aspirational, they are becoming more ambitious, they are asking more difficult questions. What background you came from is not relevant. And these are the great advantages of a liberal economic environment in the country, where the best manage to survive. And therefore, this is a great opportunity for all those who pass out today with degrees in their hands and embark upon a career. There is a vacant fast track, and there is it's like when you watch the last week of the Olympics, which are on, and you'll see the athletic events. In the long distance race, the winner is ahead by a mile from the others. His speed is extraordinary. That's the point which is vacant. And I'm sure you'll all strive to occupy that position. My best wishes to you and to the university.
Thank you, Shri Arun Jaitley, for delivering the convocation address.
I have the very proud privilege of requesting Ms. Kiran Majumdar, the Chairperson and Managing Director of Biocon Limited, to deliver the special address.
श्रीमती सावित्री जिंदल।
तो जेजीयू की 5वीं कॉन्वोकेशन सेरेमनी इस वक्त चल रही है। मुख्य अतिथि के तौर पर वित्त मंत्री अरुण जेटली अभी कह रहे थे। तकरीबन 20 मिनट के भाषण के दौरान उन्होंने ओपी जिंदल ग्लोबल यूनिवर्सिटी की जमकर तारीफ की। उन्होंने कहा कि इस यूनिवर्सिटी ने किस तरीके से हायर एजुकेशन के स्टैंडर्ड्स को मेंटेन करके रखा है और दुनिया भर में जो एक कंपटीशन का जो दौर है उस दौर में जो बच्चे यहाँ से पढ़कर निकल रहे हैं वो एक तारीफ के काबिल है। वित्त मंत्री अरुण जेटली अब से कुछ देर पहले मुख्य अतिथि के तौर पर कन्वोकेशन को संबोधित कर रहे थे। उन्होंने जमकर तारीफ की उन तमाम स्टूडेंट्स की जिन्होंने आज ग्रेजुएशन अपनी कंप्लीट की है। अपने करीब 20 मिनट के भाषण में उन्होंने ओपी जिंदल साहब को याद किया, जिनकी याद में इस यूनिवर्सिटी की स्थापना 2009 में की गई थी, एक प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटी के तौर पर, पहली प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटी के तौर पर। कई अहम बातें वित्त मंत्री अरुण जेटली ने इस मौके पर कहीं और बहुत सारी चीजें, और उसमें एक बहुत खास बात ये कि शिक्षा जो है वो कितनी जरूरी है, कितना अहम रोल है उसका हमारे सोसाइटी में। अब जरा सुनते हैं किरण मजूमदार शॉ को सुनते हैं।
And I'm sure it has done all its alumni very, very proud. So I congratulate the founders and all the stakeholders of this great institution. Now, standing before you today against the backdrop of the Rio Olympics, I can't help but use the analogy of looking at the graduating class of 2016 as qualifiers for life's decathlon. As you know, the decathlon is an arduous race of guts, grit, and endurance. In fact, the gold medalist of an Olympics decathlon is often described as the world's greatest athlete because it is about the combined performance of an athlete across track and field events. And qualifying to get to this point is indeed a very proud moment. But I must say, the course ahead is about competition and winning, and above all, fair play. So let's start with the first race, the 100-meter sprint. Every one of you is making a dash to get yourself employed, to find a job, so to speak. Some of you will find dream jobs in dream companies. Some of you will be daring and join startups. And some of you will even be gutsy enough to start your own companies and become entrepreneurs. Many of you will be disappointed and opt for what is available. But let me tell you that you shouldn't despair, because this is only the start of your life's journey, and that there are no winners or losers at this stage of the race. In fact, when I reflect on my own aspirations when I graduated from an Australian university as India's first woman brewmaster, I sprinted across the country to get a job in any brewery that would hire me, but that was not to be. So I decided to be self-employed and start my own enterprise. And in hindsight, I converted my failure into a hugely rewarding entrepreneurial journey. Today, the job market for young men and women is vast and varied. Perhaps the most disruptive change is that of a shift in the societal mindset that no longer seeks job security, but an exciting job opportunity. Startups have revolutionized the job market for young people, whether they are techies or just entrepreneurial. Today, India boasts of 25,000 startups, valued at a staggering $75 billion, employing nearly 1 million people. India ranks third among global startup ecosystems, with 4 to 5 startups being born every day. And the government, in its wisdom, has rightly come out with a policy for startups to make it that much easier for young enterprises to start, scale, and most importantly, to endure. The next event in the decathlon is the long jump. In fact, the Honorable Minister referred to the long jump. It is a long haul. It is about immersing yourself in your chosen job by applying the knowledge that you have acquired at this great institution to get experience and eventually expertise. This is what skilling and competence building is all about. Let's look at what we've done with our computer education. This has created an enviable cadre of coders who have assumed global scale and competence and earn our country worldwide leadership in software services. Likewise, our biological scientists, chemists, and pharmacologists have built global expertise in developing generic drugs and vaccines and have made a huge difference to global health. India has earned the rightful title of the pharmacy of the world, where 1 in 3 children in the world are immunized with a made-in-India vaccine, and Indian generics account for 1/3 of the global market. Building on this success, the Indian pharma sector's Make in India strategy must be driven by a mantra of highest quality at the lowest cost. This will make a big impact on global healthcare. In my own case, I'm committed to make a huge difference to diabetes and cancer by providing affordable access to life-saving drugs like insulin and biological cancer drugs. I hope that over the next decade, 1 in 5 diabetics around the world will use one of our insulin products. I have always believed that blockbuster drugs are not about $1 billion, but about 1 billion patients. Now, coming to the third leg of the decathlon, this is the short put. In context of your career path, it is about making intense efforts to achieve targets. And by doing so, credibility is built. I have well understood the importance of overcoming credibility challenges. When I started my company in 1978, I had huge credibility challenges. I was a 25-year-old woman entrepreneur who was trying to build a business based on an unknown field of biotechnology. Banks were unwilling to extend credit or even lend to me. People were nervous of working for me, and even traders were reluctant to do business with me. I had to overcome a gender barrier, a genuine concern about being young and inexperienced, and above all, the lack of understanding of what biotechnology was all about. I went about overcoming these challenges by setting myself goals, and each intense effort, I managed to obtain bank credit, recruit people, and make my first export sale of an enzyme, which was also the first for the country. The next competition is the high jump, which is all about raising the bar and aiming higher and higher. And unless you're willing to push yourself into this realm of excellence, you cannot win. Most importantly, you have to try over and over again to realize success. Inability to jump the bar the first time is by no means a failure. Every entrepreneur knows that nothing works perfectly the first time. Steve Jobs was a perfectionist, and it took several versions before Mac or iPhone or iPad was launched. Just like it took Elon Musk several iterations before he brought Tesla to the waiting world. The next is the 400 meters race, which is a stamina test. Every one of us faces periods of fatigue, lack of job satisfaction, and even serious doubts of whether it is worth pursuing one's efforts. Endurance is the name of the game. And those who endure come out stronger and more confident to rise to greater challenges and even greater heights. This part of life's journey or career path is critical, and whilst it's easy to jump ship and escape stress, it's tough to endure, overcome challenges, and thereby build self-confidence. These are the traits of true leadership. Far too many young people are lured by the temptation to switch jobs to make an extra buck or to escape work-related stress. And data will tell you that these job hoppers never make meaningful impact as they fail to develop both experience